Thanks so much. We have a special guest, Justin Adams of Channel 7 and 850 KOA. Thanks for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
And as I'm blinded by this big ring that's on your finger,
this small thing,
I have to ask you, as a former player yourself, what is the mindset of this team today?
It's everything for you right now, especially by all the hard work that you put in throughout the whole season. And this is do or die. So your mindset is, hey, do I know everything within the playbook? Do I know all my keys? Are there any little things that I need to know right now? You might be checking back in with the coach. And you want to make sure that you're 100% ready to go and that you're focused to play in this game.
All right. We were talking about this before the show began. In Peyton Manning and Andrew Luck, you have two of the most skillful quarterbacks in football, two of the most skillful quarterbacks of the last 30 years of football. How much does physicality play a role, especially early in this game, whether it's C.J. Anderson running off tackle or T.J. Ward knocking somebody in the mouth?
You know, when I played the game, you know, in the first 5 minutes or the first drive, is that you want to hit the opposing player as hard as you can. Honestly, as hard as you can.
Into next week.
Into next week, next year.
Set the tone.
Set the tone for the rest of the game. Let them know that I'm going to be here the whole time. It's kind of like with the Broncos last year in the Super Bowl. Cam Chancellor with that hit on Demarius Thomas. You knew the game was over at that point, and that's what the Broncos need from a guy like T.J. Ward today in order to win.
All right, Julius Thomas. In week 1, he torched the Colts. They're a different team now. How does he factor in today?
Well, you know, I think it's going to be very interesting, obviously. If you have a guy like Julius, you know, with 3 touchdowns that he had in the first game, it all depended on his ankle. If his ankle is good, if his ankle is fine, then everything will be well. But the biggest thing that I want to see is that if you have to double team a guy like Julius Thomas, then you get a guy like Emmanuel Sanders wide open who could, you know, pop the top on any type of defense. So if, again, Julius is well, they're going to put so much attention on him that it's going to leave a guy like him wide open.
Okay, I talked to Julius earlier this week, and I flat out asked him, I said, hey, you got a basketball background and you're playing football. Are you soft or are you just smart and taking your time to deal with that high ankle? And he said, hey, if people call me soft, that's their opinion, but I know what I've gone through and I know what my rehab has been. So I'll roll it forward this way. We talked about Brandon Marshall earlier in this show. Brandon Marshall isn't the best Broncos defender, and Julius Thomas isn't the best Broncos offensive player.
Right.
But I think Brandon Marshall holds that back end together and prevents Andrew Luck or any other quarterback from dinking and dunking so much. And I also think Julius Thomas makes all the difference in the red zone. And the red zone, when you get touchdowns rather than field goals in the playoffs, it's essential.
Exactly.
So I think Julius Thomas and Brandon Marshall are underrated in what they can bring to this game.
Exactly like the Ravens game last night. You know, the Ravens went down, scored all these touchdowns, were really keeping pace with the Patriots. And what hurt them? They had to settle for a field goal inside the goal line rather than scoring a touchdown. And when you do that, you'll lose football games. There's always a saying that I have. If you kick field goals, you lose. Or if you turn over the ball, you're going to lose the game. And so that's what happened there. And I'm also on the Brandon Marshall side. You look at a guy where his biggest thing that he brings to the team is that he can cover a running back. He can cover a tight end.
Right.
And that's what the Broncos really struggle in. So that's what they really need is for him to do so.
If the opposing team has a good tight end, the Broncos have struggled. We've seen that all season.
Definitely.
All right, so Rahim.
Does New England have a good? Never mind.
I know you all saw the picture of the guy and the Bud hanging out with Gronk on the internet. Just surfaced Twitter for forever. It was ridiculous. All right, but really quickly, Rahim Moore, in the first game, we saw him playing really deep free safety position. Do you see the defense doing the same thing?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, you have T.Y. Hilton who could, again, pop the top off of any type of defense. And to be honest, you want to kind of hide Rahim Moore. You can actually control him a lot more than other safeties with your eyes, and that's something that Andrew Luck does very well. So you want to hide him a little bit, and again, depend on a guy like a T.J. Ward to make sure if there's any slants, any short routes, that he hits them and hits them hard. And you have 2 bookend cornerbacks in Harris and Aqib Talib who could cover anybody pretty well in man-to-man coverage. So you want to make sure that you have that.
I'm glad you brought that up. I do respect T.J. Ward's ability to hit. But if I'm the opposing quarterback, especially if I have a great quarterback like Andrew Luck or potentially Tom Brady, first place I'm going are those 2 safeties.
Oh, exactly.
And saying, let's see what you can deal with in terms of me throwing at you.
I wouldn't be shocked if there's a play-action pass and they go deep. But we know the Colts don't like to run the ball a whole lot, but you stretch the defense early, and we'll see if Rahim Moore is ready to play some football today.
Who's going to win this game?
I say Broncos, but it's going to be a whole lot closer. I say Broncos by 10.
All right, low-scoring game?
That's it. No. I'll say we'll go 34-24.
All right. Thanks, Justin.
Appreciate it.
Check back in with Benjamin Hawkins.